Hello everyone, my name is Mia Zetmeyer. In my previous presentation, I outlined the severe harms that are hurting the American working class from the stagnant federal minimum wage we have had since 2009. To remind you, the federal minimum wage has been stuck at $7.25 an hour since 2009. This legislative deadlock has left millions of hard-working adults unable to afford basic necessities, trapping roughly 1.3 million Americans in poverty. To solve this crisis, I stand in affirmation of the resolution. Resolved, the United States federal government should incrementally increase the federal minimum wage over a 5-year time span to attain $15 an hour. Today, I will present a practical plan to achieve this and discuss the incredible advantages it will bring to our society at large. Let's discuss how we intend to solve this problem through our policy plan. First, the appropriate actor to execute this plan is the United States Congress. That is the agent. With enforcement guided by the Department of Labor, the minimum wage is currently deadlocked by federal law. It requires an act of Congress to amend the Fair Labor Standards Act of 1938 and to keep the federal minimum wage to go up. The mandate that we'll use for this is that Congress will pass legislation modeled after the Raise the Wage Act. The mandate will implement a phased-in increase of consisting of annual pay raises of $1.55 an hour over a 5-year period until the $15 an hour floor is met. Furthermore, to prevent sorry, furthermore, to prevent the problem of future stagnation, the mandate will index future minimum wage increases to inflation. How we will enforce this is through the Department of Labor's Wage and Hour Division. Employers failing to comply will face significant fines, back pay requirements, routine audits, and ensuring that all workers receive their rightful federally dictated compensation. Implementing this mandate requires minimal direct government funding, as the wage increases are paid by employers rather than the government itself. However, a small administrative budget for the Department of Labor's enforcement efforts will be funded by slightly reallocating existing corporate tax subsidies. How will these mandates actually solve the problem? Well, this plan directly targets the root cause of the crisis: the lack of automatic wage adjustments and congressional deadlock. By phasing in the increase incrementally, we allow small businesses as well as large businesses time to adjust while providing guaranteed relief to workers who desperately need it. According to the House Committee on Education and Labor's official FAQ on the Raise the Wage Act, this specific stepped approach provides a framework where the projected impact on poverty alleviation, and inequality reduction far outweigh the costs that will come. Furthermore, this plan overcomes the fears of massive job loss. As Michael Reich from the Institute of Labor on Labor and Employment at UC Berkeley points out in his 2021 economic analysis, which Michael Reich is a phenomenal phenomenal economic and political advocate. I very highly recommend you look at any of his work. But his analysis found that moderate, phased-in increases to a $15 minimum wage have minimal negative effects on employment, while they significantly boost annual earnings for the working class and for the average American worker. The problem of unlivable wages could and should be eliminated over the 5-year time span. In addition to solving the immediate crisis of poverty, what further benefits will society realize? Well, I can think of two major ones. One, a healthier working class. By significantly increasing income, workers are newly able to afford better and more premium healthcare, as well as more nutritious foods and better and safer housing. According to Paul Lay's 2016 peer-reviewed article in the PMC Journal, there is a direct relationship between wage levels and public health outcomes, meaning that the amount of wage that people are paid directly impacts how healthy of a life they can live and survive on. That is huge, and increasing that minimum wage will increase the livelihoods and health impacts of those in the minimum wage. Leah also found that a $15 minimum wage significantly significantly reduces premature deaths and drastically improves the psychological and mental health well-being of the working class and those around them. That means family and friends. This means we're not just saving money from the hospital bills that eventually get passed on to other taxpayers. We are literally saving lives and reducing the strain on our healthcare system. And the second advantage I can think of is the stimulation of middle out economic growth. When you give low-income workers a raise, they actually spend that money immediately on basic needs. I mean, it makes sense. So injecting capital directly into local and large businesses the second that the money gets put into workers' pockets. In the book, in a 2016 book by David Rolfe, The Fight for 15, he explains that this middle out economics model strengthens the economy from the working class up rather than waiting for the wealth to trickle down. This is significant because this increased purchasing power drives demand. And when demand goes up, supply must follow, and the economics of the situation all gets like a big boost. According to a 2019 report by the Joint Economic Committee of the U.S. Congress, states with a higher wage floor often experience stronger wage growth at the bottom of the distribution without adverse effects to the labor force. This means that even increasing the wages, increasing the amount employers have to spend on their employees, does not mean that they will spend on less employees, that there will not be more employment opportunities for employees. What that means is that raising the wage doesn't leave people stranded and unemployment, as many people like to present it or argue for that. This proves that a $15 minimum wage creates a robust, self-sustaining economy that benefits both the workers and the business owners. So in conclusion, our nation cannot afford to leave its workers behind any longer. By adopting a phased-in approach to a $15 minimum wage enforced by the Department of Labor, We can solve the crisis of stagnant wages without shocking the economy and without an increase in unemployment. The evidence is clear. This plan is not only solvent, but it also brings profound advantages to everyone, saving lives, in stimulating the economy, bringing money back to the working class, and moving money from the middle out. I strongly urge you to affirm this resolution. Thank you for your time.